Welcome back, everybody, to episode 19 of the Illegal Formation podcast. That's right. I still have to change the template, but in the thumbnail, you should see at least a placeholder logo. We're going to go through some branding changes to the podcast. We want to talk about the whole NFL. We'll still give you guys our takes on the NFC East teams, of course, in great detail. And what a week to do so with Eagles Cowboys in our Week 12 preview. Joining me today in the Illegal Formation podcast, Joey, the Cowboys fan. How we doing? Reppin'?
Ready to talk about it.
Ready for this week? Dan, how we doing? The Eagles fan.
Bro, it's another day, another dollar. Your dudes over here in the West Coast. I'm getting sick of this shit. So I'm ready to go back to the East. But, you know what I'm saying? So, let's just get to it, man.
I am so ready to talk about this week. But before we do, we had a electric, sort of surprisingly, Thursday night football game between the Bills and the Texans, in which I predicted at least that the Texans would cover the spread and for the under to hit. But I did think the Bills would still win, as did most everybody, but they ended up losing this game. But the under did hit, and obviously the Texans covered the spread, so I was sort of happy with that outcome. Josh Allen had a little bit of a moment where he fell on his hand, and people were worried about a fracture, and it was just a weird game overall. You would have expected Woody Marks to have like this monster game if they were going to win, but he didn't have a huge game, and Ray Davis had a kick return for a touchdown, so you would expect, hey, Bill's special teams coming through, like that should be, a lock for them to win this type of game, especially with backup Davis Mills in there, who had a really good game and actually played better than Josh Allen, which is not something I expected myself to be saying in the year of 2025, but here we are. So, guys, what were your thoughts on the Thursday night football game? Let's go.
I'll start again.
Yeah.
So, one of the biggest takeaways from that game, we know Houston's defense. They're ranked number one, and they showed us why they're the best defense in football. I think that defense is carrying this team, and Davis Mills, hell of a game from him. He's looked good in his starts for C.J. Stroud, and for some reason, I feel like this offense is functioning at a higher level under Davis Mills. Now, we know he has the starting experience from the past, so it's just another example of a late bloomer at quarterback getting his chance. Like, do you guys think he could start in the NFL? That's a question I'm asking myself. I guess it's only 2 games. I don't know if it's an appropriate question or not. But on top of that, Josh Allen was sacked 8 times.
Yeah.
You can't win if you're getting sacked 8 times. And then one of those sacks, he was foul baiting like it's the NBA, pretending like he was having a seizure on the field. I don't know how you guys felt about seeing that. That was a tough watch to see.
That was, and we were down on the Bills big in the top 10 list, and I cannot wait for next week. Dan, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie to you. The thing that gets me about that whole Bills game was Josh Allen really knew what the hell it was like when he was actually getting tackled by people that could run his shit over, right? And the thing is, because Joey and I remember Joey mentioned this before in the past, that like you stop James Cook, and it's like you're gonna stop Josh Allen. James Cook coming out with 17 carries, 116 yards, 3 receptions, 1 touchdown. He did what he could for this Bills team. And this dude, Josh Allen, for me, just showed in this situation, like this right there, I feel like is playoff Josh Allen. Like we got to see playoff Josh Allen in the regular season for the first time. So it's like, I'm thoroughly shocked. The Bills are definitely not a nervous wreck to me, because the Eagles do play them later on.
I wish I knew
what you were saying. We're having some connection issues.
Oh shit!
You are,
shit.
you are lagging a little bit. I think you're good right now. If you want to continue and finish.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna say that you get high moments from the Bills all the time against like the Bucks, where they'll go off and they get all these points and they start throwing it off, and everybody's like, "Is he the MVP?" Just for the following week, him to do this, like, I can't with these Bills. I can't.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped off our top 10 lists.
Yeah.
After this week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a team on that list that has more than 2 ugly losses on the year. Now they have 4. like really ugly losses. Now this Texans team, we did give them credit last week as sort of a sleeping giant with this defense, but going up against Davis Mills, you would think it doesn't matter who or what the mismatch is on the team standpoint, as long as Josh Allen's on the other side. Obviously, the roster matters, but typically these are NFL rosters and they have players. It's not like he's working with the Titans out there. So, really surprising loss for them.
To add to that, though, I saw something out there where it's like, I don't know the time period, but Josh Allen accounts for like 74% of the Bills' touchdowns, like he's involved with. So I think that's just a number that obviously you can't rely on, game in and game out to have him carry you that way. There's just a lot of stress on the shoulders of Josh Allen on top of, I don't know, it's just up to him to make all these plays, and it's just something that you're not going to see success. You're not going to be able to win a Super Bowl doing that, I feel like. But it's just as one-dimensional as that.
It seems like Mahomes is like the only guy who really does that and actually gets somewhere with it, because with the way that they have no running back production or anything like that, he's probably involved in, I would estimate, somewhere around that range. But yeah, the Bills, they're definitely in trouble for this season. But now it is time to move on to the biggest games of this week, and I want to start things off with Eagles Cowboys. This matchup, I just want to let.
Wouldn't you rather go 1:00 games first? Get them knocked out?
Let's do the Giants game.
Yeah, this Eagles conversation is gonna take a long time.
I want to save it for the end, to be honest. I want it to be the main event.
All right. We'll save it for the end. But to start things off, I'll take it with the Giants. So we're playing the Lions this week, and they're 10-point favorites naturally with a 50.5 point over-under. So, if the Giants had any semblance of health, knowing what Jackson Dart is, you still wouldn't feel great coming into this game. Just the way that, this Lions team is able to run the ball, and, the way their offense operates when that's working, it's just something that, I feel like you can't foresee like a worse matchup for the Giants. I mean, the run defense, like, it's going to cost them no matter what they do on offense. I feel like the Lions are either going to be able to chew up clock to finish the game, or it'll be effective for them extending drives in crucial situations if it actually gets to that point, and they'll be able to go pull off the win. They are dealing with a lot of injuries. They have 4 defensive players out, and Miles Frazier is out, and then they have 8 other players who are questionable. But I still don't think that's a reason that Gibbs shouldn't go for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Goff should eat this secondary too. The Giants are missing Adebo, Kayvon, and Nubin, and Banks are questionable. And I didn't say it already, but if you didn't know, Jackson Dart did not clear a concussion protocol. He's not going to be in there. It's going to be Jameis Winston. I still think Jameis gives you a decent chance, but it's just, it would be so unlikely. So I'm going to take the Lions to win 31-20. Dan, who do you think is going to win this game?
Bro, I expect you guys to get freaking mollywopped. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. Like, give me Lions by 30 at this point.
10 points is not enough.
Yeah, I think to me it's just like, give me the Lions by 30, because I think to me after the game they played against the Eagles and got absolutely shut down on defense, and Jared Goff basically got his ish ran through. They need to have a statement game to be like, no, we're still like that. So and at this point it's like you have a really, really mangled Giants team. So we're here with it, and I'm expecting the Lions to smack them probably 10-30 is what I would go with.
No faith in Jameis and the offense?
I'm not gonna. No.
It's just gonna be one of those days. Joey, what do you think is gonna happen?
Scott, you mentioned you noted that Jackson Dart's out again. For me, it makes no impact to how I look at this game, because I feel like Jameis Winston gives you the same chance to win
variance
with this team. But I feel like just second week under Mike Kafka, I feel like it's not going to be as crazy of a game as you guys are expecting. I feel like the Lions have struggled a little bit as of late, and I do believe that you have the talent on defense. So I know you guys are terrible against the run, so this is a really broad ask, but I kind of think my initial thought is this is like a 23-16 type of game. You guys are going to be in it the whole time, just fall short at the end, of course.
Well, that would be very entertaining.
On top of that, though, to add to that, you guys will be the first team in the NFL eliminated to this season from the playoff contention.
Well, I cannot expect anything less from the Giants, even though we did, a lot right this year in the offseason with Dart and Scatterboo in the draft, and Carter he'll get there with the sacks.
He's no Donovan.
I'm sick of thinking about it. I see him getting pressure out there. It'll happen. What's up?
What do you feel about your guy Scatterboo having beef? You said what?
You're lagging quite a bit, so I think you got to talk a little slower.
What do you feel about your guy Scatterboo having more commitment and beef with Dominic Mysterio than being on the sidelines supporting his team?
You're talking like he's not at the game.
LOL Giants.
He's doing whatever, I guess he can.
Yeah. I get that. But it seems like he is more adamant and excited on his podcast and his streams and having beef with Dominic Mysterio than the camaraderie in the Giants locker room. What do you feel?
What do I feel with that? I feel he also said he would never play for any other team, even if they doubled his salary. So seems like
he's obligated to say that because he's a rookie.
Not everyone says that. In fact, I would say most people don't say that at all. It's all about players getting what they deserve.
He's also not going to make it to his contract anyway. So.
Yeah, I feel like that whole narrative is honestly kind of backwards in my head, because you would think someone that's so tough and strong would be more durable than most other people, but people have it flipped in their heads that like he's just not that good, or he's just not that great of an athlete, when clearly it's just not the case at all. I mean, you see him on the field, clearly he's one of the best athletes out there. He's just not Jahmyr Gibbs, so either way,
we saw his ankle shatter, so he's on. So in 1 year, we've seen a season-ending injury, and that's kind of what it's going to be for Scatterboo. I don't think he's going to have these like nagging week-to-week injuries. I think if he's going to get hurt, it's going to be like a season-ending injury every time. So he's got to prove to me.
It's crazy because that could have happened to anyone, and how he got injured had nothing to do with him trying to run an extra guy over or anything. Zach Bond just kind of fell on him funny. And it was like kind of the hip drop mechanic. I wouldn't say it was like a clear hip drop tackle, but that was essentially what went on, and that could happen to anyone, as we see. So, but
if I was Cam Scatterboo, I would probably just hang it up and be a full-time streamer, because he's having some good success and I want to see him live a long and successful life. I don't want to see him cut short with the CTE thing. So if I were him, I'd be hanging it up and just going into this media business.
Well, as correct as you are, that people would definitely watch his streams. I think a lot of that attention comes from him being a football player. I do think eventually, like maybe after he retires, he could do something like that. But obviously football's his passion. But hey, I think he's gonna feel he has enough money. But we're getting off track. Let's move on to the next game in the 1 o'clock slate, and that is Seahawks at Titans. This game, I think everybody feels the same way going into it. The Seahawks are 13.5-point favorites, and the over/under is 40.5. Should those both be higher? I mean, I think the over/under might be correct, because the Seahawks could score 41 points and completely shut out the Titans, but I feel like the spread should just be like, it should be monstrous. I mean, I get the Seahawks lost last week, but they looked good. And Sam Darnold, he had a bad week, but that's just the Chris Shula theory, you see. So that doesn't continue to apply in the games that happen after that. So do we really think the Titans are going to be the offense to figure out this defense? No, definitely not. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to win 31-13. And like I said, that 13 points is a sheer gift from me, from what I actually kind of foresee happening. So that's my take. Joey, who do you think is going to win this game? Is Seattle going to cover the spread of 13.5? Let me frame that question.
I think this game will be over at halftime. I think this game follows the game script we saw Seattle play against the Cardinals and then the Commanders. They're going to come out of the gate hot, especially coming off a loss, touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. It'll probably be like 28-0 at the half, and then they're going to coast in the second half. I got Seattle 31-6.
Dan, how about you?
I'm not gonna lie, this is like a statement game. To me, it's like one of those things being a fan of a team who just, you gotta make sure you get the job done and you make the statements right. This team really should not allow them to score more than, I would say, 6 points as well. But I'm gonna go more. I'm actually gonna go 38-6 is what I'm expecting the Seahawks to come out with.
38-6. Well, I feel those are all very good predictions, and it seems we're all in agreement. So there's not much else to say about this one. Let's move on to the next one, which is sort of interesting, and that is Patriots at Bengals. In this game, currently the Patriots are 8.5-point favorites, but Joe Burrow may come back to play in this game. We don't know yet. At least I don't. Something may have come out recently, but I haven't seen anything. I'll keep my eyes peeled.
He's out.
He's out?
Yeah, it was, they were talking about him. He's like questionable for the game, but he's not currently activated. I think they have until tomorrow, like 4 o'clock to make that decision. But it sounded like on Zach Taylor's most recent interview that he's good. They were saying like last week he was on pace for Thanksgiving. So I think that time frame still applies.
Yeah, it was probably just optimistic this week. So Flacco's going to be in on this one, and I just don't see this Bengals defense stopping anything this Patriots offense is going to be able to do. For the Patriots, they won't have Milton Williams, so that is going to hurt their defense. And Flacco has been serviceable in at QB. We've been seeing the Unk continue to, add on to his career, and that's all been fun, but it hasn't resulted in wins. So it's a fun idea, but maybe they could keep up. I just don't see them finishing this game whatsoever. So I'm going to take the Patriots to win this one 37-21. I think they're going to score a lot of points in this one. Dan, what do you think is going to happen in this game? Do you think the Patriots cover the 8.5-point spread?
Oh yeah, by a mile, personally. So to me, how I'm looking at it also is like not even just from the Patriots offensive standpoint, but the defensive standpoint from the Patriots, because they're not going to have Jamar since he decided to perform a heinous crime that you need to be punished for diligently. And what's it called? And overall, that defense should absolutely mollywop them. The offensive line still horrendous. Nothing. They shouldn't really get anything going, I feel like, or momentum wise. All they're gonna have is really Higgins and Chase Brown. So if I'm be to me, it's like the Patriots have no excuse here to let anything up, and I feel like they need to have that in a game like this to kind of prove to themselves and prove to the NFL, we're going to the playoffs and we're about to rock your shit. So, yes, I see them covering the 8-point spread. Plus, I see the Patriots coming out 28-7. 28-7. I'm expecting them to pull their starters probably by the fourth quarter.
All right. So that's definitely different from the game script, I imagine. Joy, what do you think is going to happen in this one?
So you mentioned, Milton Williams is not playing, but what you did mention is that Kenyon Booty's back. He's going to be playing. They're getting Ramondre Stevenson back. He'll be playing. So it's going to be back to this running back rotation, I imagine. But before Booty got the hamstring injury, he had a touchdown. He had 4 touchdowns in 3 straight games. So I would take my lock of the day, sponsored by, just kidding. But my lock of the day is a Kenyon Booty anytime touchdown for this game. He's been great down the field as their deep target or as their deep threat, so I want to see him go back to doing that. He's a piece of the offense they haven't really had. They've been covering it up with Matt Collins and then Demario Douglas, on intermediate stuff. But I think he's going to help unlock the offense, and I got the Patriots winning this game 34-20. So they do cover.
Yeah, with the way Drake May is playing, I don't see the Bengals defense being the ones to expose him. So it seems we're all in agreement on this one as well. Moving on to the next game, we have the New York Jets at the Baltimore Ravens. Another sort of mismatch where we got a 13.5-point spread in favor of Baltimore and a 44.5-point over-under. In this one, I would say if the Ravens lose this game, their season is just over. They didn't look that great last week, but I just don't see that happening. So I think the spread is justified. The Jets are starting Tyrod, which could sort of stabilize things. So I just think the Ravens slug it out at worst and win this game 28-17. So maybe not covering that spread, getting it done ugly, but they'll get it done, and all facets of their team are going to, slowly improve week to week, I think, now that everyone's back and healthy. So that's my take on this game. Joy, who do you think is going to win?
We got a homecoming game incoming to this game. Tyron Taylor started his career in Baltimore, so he's going to be playing, his OG team. And I got a upset alert. Upset alert. Jets are winning this game 16-13.
16-13. Is there something that sticks out to you that makes you believe this?
I think they're going to battle defensively. The defense really isn't that bad. They keep them in games. It's just a matter of what they can do on the offense. And I think they're going to hold the Ravens to field goals here and just overall battle. And then, honestly, 16-13 is not the right score frame for this win. It probably looks something more like a 28-27. They're going to barely win the game is what it's going to come down to. And I think Tyrod Taylor is going to be able to move the ball. And A.D. Mitchell is going to be a huge factor here with a competent quarterback throwing the ball to him this week.
Joey, you are one of the biggest T-Mobile supporters I have ever known. And I feel like that's definitely you have a lot of faith in him in this spot, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned it the same way. I mean, I think he should stabilize the offense, and maybe they're not so bad, but I don't know. It's just tough to project something like that. I mean, frankly, like as just the culture of the Jets, like, can they pull off a win like that? Like, sure, but like I just don't know if it's going to be against the Ravens. But
here's my key to this game: the Ravens are giving up an average of 121 rushing yards per game. So I think the Jets have a good offensive line. They got their two core tackles, and they got a really good center. So I think they're going to be able to run the ball with Breece Hall. I expect a big Breece Hall game. But on top of that, I just expect, Tyrod Taylor to do what he always does when he plays, and that's be able to move the ball. He's going to take shots down the field, and I think he's going to connect with A.D. Mitchell on a big touchdown. So I just I like the idea. I just don't know why the Jets didn't do this earlier in the year.
Dan, do you agree with Joey? Do you think the Jets have a chance in this one? Do you think they could win?
I do think they have a chance. Do I think they're going to win? No. I think with the losses of Milton Williams and Sauce, it's still going to show especially with Milton Williams. I'm not going to say Sauce really because I'm not going to lie to you. I still am seeing him get disrespected out there on the outside. But Milton Williams, I feel like was the piece that. Wait, my fault. Quinnen. My fault.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm so used to my goat. I forget there's other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, Quinnen Williams, like for losing him and losing a big people, I guess you say their key factor in their run defense. That I feel like with Derrick Henry back there, and especially being in Baltimore, this is kind of going to be their game to kind of show like we can establish everything. But I think it is going to be a lot closer than it really should be because there should be no reason and no realm that the Jets should be close to being the Ravens. But I do see it going 20-17 Ravens.
I got 27-24 Jets.
I got 28-17 Ravens. So it's an interesting one. I didn't expect much pushback on this one, but I'm here for it. So excited to watch that one now and stay tuned with you to see if your prophecy holds true on this one because that is that I think might be your boldest take this year as far as a game goes. But now we get to move on to a game of the week, a candidate for a game of the week. It might not be for this show, but it's definitely number 2. And that is going to be Colts at Chiefs, a massive game for both teams. In this one, the Chiefs are 3.5-point home favorites, and the over-under is pretty high at 50.5. like I said, it's so huge for both of these teams for different reasons. The Chiefs, they really need a win. They can only really afford 2 more losses on the season. Now, this is one of the 2 games I think they could lose, and I would kind of, be okay with that, because I'd say, all right, this was the toughest one. As long as they win the easier ones, they should be good. And then for the for the Colts, they have the Texans and the Jaguars creeping up in the division, and they could very easily have a poor finish to the season, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But Daniel Jones has had some shaky moments, and we just don't know if the formula can hold up, but it seems very dependent on Jonathan Taylor. So massive game for both teams. And I think in this one, the Chiefs will find a way to score 20 points at least. I think Mahomes, even though he's going to be without Xavier, he's without Xavier Worthy, I'm pretty sure. And I don't think that's going to matter too much, just because of the way this offense has been operating the past 3 seasons. And I think they have enough deep threats in the depth position. So I think the offense is going to be good for the Chiefs, even though they struggle to run the ball. I am not too concerned, just because they've been able to win games, at least in the past, and finish them out without doing that. This year, they're not winning the 1-score games. I think at this point, when the pressure starts building later in the season, they're going to start winning more of these games that are panning out like this. The Colts, however, I will mention, they do have Lou Anarumo, and when he was with Cincinnati, that defense played very, very well against this Chiefs team. And that's going to be a very interesting coaching matchup to watch between him and Andy Reid. So I am definitely going to be eyeing that up to see how does the Colts defense look. Can they force some turnovers? And the last time and only time Daniel Jones ever played the Chiefs, it was a 20-17 loss. That's the only sample. It was in 2021, so it doesn't really seem all that relevant, right? Completely different Giants team. That Chiefs team was very offensive heavy. They're very different now. Now, the key to this one, I would say, is the Chiefs are home. The Colts are 4-1 against the spread at home, but they are 2-2 against the spread when they're on the road. And the Chiefs, the home field advantage that they have, like I said, I think it's going to be one of the contributing factors to why they pull off the win. In this case, I do think it'll be close. I think they will do just enough to stop Jonathan Taylor from taking over this game, and they'll win 24-23. Dan, what is your prediction for this top 10 altering matchup we have here?
I think the Chiefs are going to come out playing defense like they did against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. They're going to try their best to absolutely contain the run, make that the main priority, trust, and make Daniel Jones be the reason why they win the game, trusting his weapons on the outside. I'm expecting Spagnuolo to probably send a couple blitzes to kind of pressure him and get him into his pumpkin face looking state. Absolutely throw him off his game, and just basically make his own mistakes, make him go crazy, make him go off, make him question whether or not he's actually like the guy that's supposed to be there. But surprisingly, I will say I will have the trust in him to be able to get them out, to be able to get them in a situation where they can make it work, that they could do something. And I'm going to still go Colts 23-20.
23-20. So 4 less points than what I projected, but still sort of within that 20-point expectation.
But I will say for sure, if they come out and the Colts absolutely mollywop them, like the Chiefs, I don't care who they win or where they win or where they. It's like that's it for them. Like it's it in my book.
Joey, what is your prediction for this game?
Yeah, I kind of think what Danny said, the latter of what Danny said, is what the outcome of this game is going to be. I think they're going to have a tough time dealing with Jonathan Taylor, setting the pace, and I think it's just going to be a slow bleed this game. And realistically, the Colts defense is good. I don't think it's going to be close. I got the Colts, I got Taylor going for like 150 this week, 2 touchdowns. It's probably going to be like 31-10. I don't think the Chiefs are going to have a hard time here. I think they're going to have a hard time moving the ball.
All right.
I do think so.
I'm definitely going to push back on this because First of all, I want to pose the question. When was the last time we've actually seen this Chiefs team with Patrick Mahomes in get blown out like that? I don't think I remember that happening since, maybe.
The Colts. The Colts are coming off of a bye, and they got 3 like CB1s on their team, and that's all the Chiefs have is that all they can do is pass the ball. This is going to be one of the hardest teams to throw the ball on. They got Sauce Gardner, they got Ward out there, Moore out there. Kenny Moore.
I think the key in this game. I think the key is Daniel Jones. I think Mahomes and the Chiefs have taken on much tougher defenses in the past, and they're still one of the highest ranking offenses in the league this year. I'm not afraid of this Colts defense when it comes to the Chiefs offense. What I'm more concerned about is the Colts in terms of what's going to, create the most possibilities for the outcome of this game. I think it's what happens on the Colts offense. I think that's going to affect the outcome of this game the most. And I think it comes down to what Danny said about how Steichen versed off against this Chiefs team in the Super Bowl. And what did we see happen? We saw them commit to stop the run and force Jalen Hurts to be the one who primarily beat them. So I would expect them to do the same thing in this one that Daniel Jones. I do think they're going to be able to contain, like I said, Jonathan Taylor to a degree because that's a choice. Like, they're a talented enough team to do it. It's just about whether they prioritize that in the game plan, and I think they will. So if Daniel Jones can come out and, pass the ball well, I think he'll be able to, but I'm just not sure it's going to be enough, and it's just going to take, I think, 1 or 2, turnover-worthy plays to kind of spook this offense and team and maybe even just throw the game into the Chiefs' favor. So that's kind of why I think the Chiefs are going to end up winning this one. I do think it'll be close, but I don't see the blowout whatsoever. I mean, I understand your argument, but I just don't see it playing out that way.
Add to what I'm saying, the Colts are first in points per game. They're first in total yards. They're third in passing yards. And, their offense, they're third in rushing yards. I mean, I can't see how the Chiefs can contain the Colts offense, especially when they, run. They're going to run the ball heavy, which is what they do, and it's going to open up the passing game, as we know. And I just have a hard time seeing the Chiefs have struggled all year. I mean, and they are winless in these one-score games to begin with. So even if it does come down to that, I don't see them winning. I don't see how they can be favored in this game. I think, the books are being stupid here, and I think you should hammer the Colts at plus 154. Realistically, another thing is like the Colts are coming off a bye. They're going to be fresh. They're going to be ready to go. And on top of that, Sauce Gardner had another 2 extra weeks pretty much to, adapt to this Colts defense. So, that's why I have the edge for the Colts significantly.
Well,
I just don't know how the Chiefs can randomly discovered running the ball and fixing this offense on top of just being overall just average across the board.
Well, it doesn't have to just be them running the ball. I mean, they can try to, but I think mostly it's just going to come down to play extension from Mahomes. And what
Colts defense is good.
Yeah, he's like I said before, I think he's beaten better than this Colts defense. And if Aaron Rodgers is able to put up 27 and beat this Colts team, I think the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes are more than capable of doing that. And honestly, this is one of the Colts' toughest matchups of the season so far. They have not played a Chiefs caliber team. I don't think the Chiefs are a tough matchup. I don't.
They're 5-5. They're not a elite team. They're an average team at this point. Yeah. Calling them a tough matchup is just kind of.
They're not.
I know. I think
they are not some easy out. It's you're acting like they've lost to bad teams, similarly to what the Bills have done, and I don't think putting them in that category is correct because their losses this year are to the Broncos, the Bills, the Eagles, and then the Jaguars in a very, very flip-flop game that they easily could have won. What's that?
You named 4 losses, they lost 5. They're 5-5.
Yeah.
Who have they beat? Who have the Chiefs beat this year? What's the most impressive win the Chiefs have this year?
Is only the Lions. So it is a good win, but it is only that one as well. So this would be a game I would circle for the Chiefs that they, if they want to do more than just scrape into the playoffs, they need to win a game like this to prove that we are still Super Bowl contenders. And I think they know that heading into this game.
They can win this game, they're still not.
I think having more confidence in the Colts off the bye, I understand it typically helps, but that sort of thing can work against you as well too. I mean, Daniel Jones with the 2 weeks of like him not being in rhythm of what he's been doing, like I'm not sure. I've never seen him on a good team like in this situation where like what does he
Well,
look like coming off a bye when he's been playing well? It's
he's
never
been
happened.
fair.
That's what my point is exactly. So I'm saying that I'm not sure what that's going to look like. And I think it's going to be okay, but I think it could cost them in this game, and I'm just going to bet.
Let me ask you this. Why are you having so many questions about this 8-2 Colts team and just assuming that these Chiefs are going to come out here and win this game? Like, well, how do you look at this game and you have more questions about the Colts than you do the Chiefs when you look at the records and how they've played this year?
I've only seen this Colts team play football this year. I've seen a majority of this Chiefs team play football for the past 3, so it's not like I'm only going to consider this season sample size.
The past is not relevant to them right now. It really isn't.
I think it definitely is. I mean, I think it's why we call all the players who are not rookies. I think it's why we call them great heading into the season because of what they had done in the past.
We're talking about teams here. We're talking about teams.
You are correct, but the Chiefs are one of those teams that have been largely the same roster. I mean, they have like 2 different defensive players over the past 3 seasons. This offensive line is largely the same, if not it's better. Now they improved it, and then Mahomes has been adding weapons.
So wouldn't you think a team like this, who's been like around for so long, starts to like regress, and like we're seeing the regression happen? I guess it's like
in real time.
What makes Yeah, like what is making you think, I guess, that it's like, right? Mind you, I had them high too, but it's like I expect them to lose, and then the Chiefs are out of my top 10, like by a mile. And it's like, I guess what's making you think mid-season after everything that's transpired, it's just like this week they're gonna turn it around?
It just feels like blind hope at this point, what it feels like.
I don't really think it's blind hope. And to answer the question about regression, I believe the regression year was last year. I think that's when they like truly hit their low of regression because they overperformed and it kind of hid their flaws. I think it kind of got exposed to them in the Super Bowl and kind of how like they were barely winning the games. Like it's not like they didn't know about that. And I think they, like I said, with the offensive line, that was a real key thing that this Chiefs team have relied on. I think Josh Simmons, he was banged up at one point, but having him on this team at the value they got him at was just exactly what they needed. And then as far as the weapons go, I'm really disappointed they didn't do something at running back. I think that would have been the smart thing to do would be to trade for Breece Hall or cough up the 3rd round pick. I think he's totally worth it. But other than the running back position, I think at wide receiver, Rashee Rice is definitely enough as your one, and then the depth they have behind him is not great, but it is deep. They're deep at wide receiver and tight end when it comes to like startable guys.
This is just a genuine.
Look at the Colts.
What about the Colts?
I said if you want to see what being deep at the receiver position looks like, pull up the Colts roster because they are deep at receiver. They have multiple guys that They have multiple guys that would be the number 2 receiver on this Chiefs offense. They are just by far the superior roster. And again, I will keep it. I think you are really like underplaying the addition of Sauce Gardner. I don't understand how you're not giving them the credit of adding a all-pro corner.
It's not easy to just step in at corner onto a defense and just go back
Talk about an
all-pro level. Yeah, it's even for the all-pros. They're all-pros because they're really talented, first of all, but it's because they practice and they're in the system and they know what they're doing. He just joined Lou Anarumo's system. And he
joined a winning team.
It should help that he had the bye week. It should definitely help.
Yes.
But I don't know.
Yeah, this guy's like a 6-year-old. He can learn a defense in 2 weeks.
I think the 2022 Eagles were better than this team, and I don't think this Chiefs team that we're seeing right now is all that different from that Chiefs team that played. So I think the defense is a little worse. I'll definitely say that, but I think the offense is in a better spot, and I'm still comfortable if that's who they are. So that's why I'm doing this.
All right, I can't wait to tell you. I can't wait to laugh at how wrong you were.
Genuine thought, because also too, from my standpoint with the Chiefs, it's like I've seen the Andy Reid regression throughout my years of my childhood. So like, I guess Mahomes is what? About to be coming up on year 6 or 7 of his 10-year contract and stuff. Do you think when it comes to that time, if the regression is still going, they get rid of Reed, or it's time to just completely do they extend Mahomes? Do they get rid of him? Do they get rid of Reed? I guess that the regression keeps going. Like, what do you see because it's worked for years. It's worked for years, and all of a sudden now it's just not working. As an Eagles fan, I saw the regression. We had the same team: D-Jack, Jerry Maclin, LaShawn McCoy, Brent Selleck. Oh, like Ertz is a rookie. Everybody, O-line still solid. Regression happened. Reed was gone.
Okay, but the Chiefs haven't regressed at all. They haven't changed. I get the record's not there right now, but if they make the playoffs, then they have a chance to just completely wipe that and win 2 playoff games.
Make me want
to be right back right back to where they were. It's a different storyline every year. With when it was Brady, he's gonna regress. You know that, right? Like it's gonna happen. You guys are the ones who are projecting the regression for this team. They're still playing at a high level just because they had regression with what they had regression with was winning the 1-score games. Now I do see that as a concern. It's just a trend I don't expect to continue. So all this talk about them getting blown out and all this talk about are they gonna fire Andy Reid, in a couple years, like I'm just like this is all just a massive overreaction. Like if you don't have faith in this team, like I said, to figure it out in this situation, I don't know why you have faith in anyone. That's just the way I see it.
Scott, the answer to the Andy Reid question, they're never going to fire Andy Reid. When Andy Reid's done, he's going to retire. So
I agree with that.
I can see him retiring at the end of Mahomes' contract, and then re-up. They're never going to let Mahomes go, obviously, because of the PR marketing and all that stuff. But anyway, what's the law of averages thing? What is that called? What is that? What is that?
What's the definition? It's just that it'll regress back to the mean, whether it's positive or negative.
So last year we saw them go undefeated in 1-score games. This year they are completely defeated in 1-score games. So wouldn't that tell you they would continue to lose these 1-score games anyway, just to get back to the mean that we're talking about?
My statement is I think the law of averages is irrelevant when we're talking about the greatest dynasty of since the New England Patriots and the best quarterback in potentially NFL history, because I still think Brady would play at a higher level. But I just think that kind of stuff is like there are very few teams, and like quarterback coach like circles in NFL history where there's sort of logic that idea doesn't apply. Is there are very few guys you can attach that to, and there's periods of time, with like Big Ben and Tomlin in their prime years. You'd be like, oh yeah, they'll get there, but this is the team right now that laws of averages just don't apply to them. And also, like I said, like this is not that different of a team. If anything, I think they're better. Like this year, I think they have a lot more potential too. Like they were very talent deficient last year. I think that was the main reason that they lost, and they were hurt too. I think if they stay healthy, then I don't know why you don't have faith. But we're talking in circles, I was going to say. So let's move on to the next game. And this is going to be another sort of big game. We got Vikings at Packers. That's right. We got 9 versus Love. So this is going to be a very interesting one here. Packers 6.5-point favorites in this one with only an over-under of 40.5. I feel like you would think it would be higher than that, but I think most of that is just, them under-projecting J.J. McCarthy and this Vikings offense. I don't know. Like, the Packers have been a vulnerable team this year, but I just don't really feel like from J.J. McCarthy I've seen, much to be confident.
I'm not even gonna lie. You are lighting me up with these Packers, bro. That you are legitimately how are you gonna say
what?
No. It's almost all right. So all right. So I want to ask you a question. Do you feel
like I didn't even say anything?
Do you feel that these Packers have been dealt just a bad hand? That it's just shitty circumstances, or like, because like I'm being so dead ass. If they lose this game, and I see them in your top 10, I am absolutely driving to your house and ripping your shirt off. Like, I'm going to be so fucking frustrated.
Dude.
There should be no reason why this damn Packers team should be mentioned at all anymore if this Vikings team wins. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, that would be what's it called? They almost lost to the Giants, and then they get beat by the Vikings.
Well,
Andy, I got news for you. They're going to lose this week.
I agree. I had that pick already. Like,
you guys have all no faith in the Packers, but what we've seen from JJ McCarthy, he's ready to beat a NFC playoff team. That's what the difference is here.
That's an undeserved title that you gave the Packers. They're not an NFC playoff team.
They were the past 2 seasons, and
what happened?
They
got bounced.
They're in the
first round. Actually, they got embarrassed by the Eagles last year.
They lost to the Super Bowl champs with their wide receiver 7 rolling out there as the 1. Like, that's everyone knows that's what happened. Like,
okay, so my question. So this is what I say, right? It's you have had consistent injuries on this team. Why? Like, you don't just get the injury bug every single year. Why are we not looking for consistent, healthy play? Like, to me, it's just I can't keep going and sitting here and giving the Packers what's it called? What's the right word? Grace. That's the right word. Grace. To go and be like, oh man, shit happened. They were so close. They beat the Cowboys by 40. We were over here shitting on them. The Eagles smack them in the playoffs the following year. Oh, well, they were really hurt. Wide receiver number 7 came out, and wide receiver 8 lined up in the slot. No, fuck the Packers, bro. They are not doing it. They are not there yet.
Well, then I'm going to say the same thing about the Eagles because they don't look very good in any of their games this year. They don't look good.
Games that we need
you don't look good in your wins. You guys are the Chiefs from last year. You said they regressed. So that means you guys regressed.
God, where'd the Chiefs go last year?
They went to the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
You guys are
saying the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl? If the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, that's 3 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years.
Yeah, but that's
the real dynasty.
I'm pointing out that I don't agree with this logic. That's why I said if you're saying that, then I'm saying that about the Eagles, but I don't feel that way. I don't feel this
okay, Scott, this is where I say
check your privilege.
This is what gets me. This is what gets me. This is what gets me, right? We lost to the Giants the first time, and you said key injuries, but that should never have happened. Okay. Then we played the Giants the second time, and we won the way we should have.
Right.
The Packers were going touchdown for touchdown with you that whole game with Jameis Winston, not Jackson Dart.
First start of the year. First start of the year.
Not Russell. Jameis Winston. And while, of course, I understand they didn't have Josh Jacobs, they were throwing the ball. And it's like we don't look at them going score for score with the Giants, who Joey mentioned beforehand. If you guys lose this week, you're the first team eliminated from the playoffs. And we're saying that team is going to the playoffs potentially. And I'm supposed to be like, oh, yeah, I can respect this. It's just this is where it gets me the Eagles and the Packers. It's we've had wins against the Chiefs, the Bucks, the Rams, the Lions, the Packers. We've made sure to at least win against those things. And you said it before. The Eagles against any of these AFC teams, you're leaning more towards the Eagles, which I would agree. So it's if we're in these situations where, yes, they are not pretty wins, I will agree with you. But they are still wins. Just like when the Packers beat the Giants, it was a win.
I think they
came out and they were able to make the necessary adjustments to come out with the win. So
that's what I find.
Packers squeeze it by the skin of their teeth win against the Giants compared to Eagles squeeze it out their teeth, the skin of their teeth against the Lions. I would say like.
Yeah, so what I'm getting here is that, if you can get right against the Giants, that makes you a Super Bowl contender. Because outside of that game, they haven't looked right in any of the other games this season.
Hey, hold on, Scott.
Hurts is, and this drama is like spawning from something. As much of it as I think is overblown and hyperbole, you can't say this if Hurts is playing like he was last year. I get his stats are pretty good, but when you watch him play, you can tell that it's not the same. And they are still my number 2 team, but I don't feel great about really any of the top 10 this year for a lot of reasons. This is one of the greatest seasons of parity I can remember. So it's mostly my faith in the roster that's carrying them there, but I'm kind of pointing out how every team has shown vulnerabilities at this point, except for the Rams, but that's just my opinion. I know you guys don't have them number 1, but should we just all right,
hold on.
We're on the Packers Vikings game. Let's just give our takes for this one and go right into the Cowboys Eagles.
Hold on. I think you're speaking. Hold on, guys. You're like trying to poke holes in the Eagles with these wins. I find it even more impressive that they are winning these ugly games. I think that's more impressive. Like that's probably the most impressive thing about them. They don't need to win pretty because they show you week in and week out. It doesn't matter what's happening. They're gonna fucking win the game. Like that's what they've done.
It's just like 2023,
how's that not more
right? They were winning.
How's that not more impressive?
That's a formula for success. The Chiefs last year,
they
they're
came
winning
back
ugly.
26-7 against the number 1 team. They beat your team 26-7.
The best win they had all year was probably, I would say it was probably the Rams.
I did not say the Rams.
But even in that game, it's like you pointed out when that game happened, that was not a convincing win. You got destroyed to start off the game, and then you came back, and that was great. But you probably would have lost if it wasn't for 2 blocked fourth quarter field goals, because that's the game plan going into every week. We're gonna go down and then we're gonna come back, which is good, but we wouldn't win if it wasn't for 2 special teams. I'm not gonna call them flukes because they do seem good at it, but the point of repeatability that I keep making about teams that I expect to actually win the Super Bowl, that's what has me concerned, because the run game doesn't look repeatable this year. The 3rd and long offense doesn't look repeatable. And we saw a team like the Broncos, with that win, I think that's what I expect in the playoffs for this Eagles team is that Broncos game, that Lions game, and that Packers game. I think it's just going to be these low-scoring games. And if it's something between them going to the Super Bowl in 2023, maybe they win one. But I think eventually it's just going to catch up to them, that long season from last year. That's the whole narrative for this, for me, at least squeezed into it, is I know they're good. I think they're going to go far, but I think it's just they're going to run out of gas. I don't think they can keep this up, and they're way more hurt than they were last year. That's totally true. You can't even deny that.
So you're talking about running out of gas. I think we are seeing a Chiefs team that is completely empty. They have nothing to give. That's why I feel like the Colts blow them out. Going back to that conversation, you're talking about the team that went to Super Bowl 2 years in a row. I think they are absolutely cooked right now. And that shows they're 0-5 in these one-score games. Back to the Eagles. I mean, their defense, the Jalen Phillips thing has been super impressive, what he's been able to do, how he stabilized their defensive, their edge group. I think you're underestimating the addition of Nakobe Dean running the green dot for the Eagles. He's been really good. He's a national champion middle linebacker for Georgia. He's on a contract year as well. The defense in itself, since the trade deadline, since the additions that they've made, I think has been probably the best unit in football. So I think, and that's why they win these games, because their defense keeps them in all these games. That's kind of that's the biggest takeaway. They can, and that's what Vic Fangio does. He takes away all, he could shut down these elite offenses. You talked about the adjustments. They were down 26-7 and came back and won that game against the Rams. And they've shown that all fucking year though, that they're winning these games. I don't know how you beat the Eagles, really.
Don't you see at least that, like I said about the Chiefs last year, it's tough to win a bunch of one-score games in a row. And if you're doing that into the playoffs and you have to continue to do it, it's like that's a ton of pressure. And when the games are sort of, if they don't have like a lead in like every game, like in the playoffs, the game they don't have a lead by like the end of the first quarter or first half is the one I'm gonna expect them to lose, because then the defense that they have, it is great, but it doesn't play the same when they're behind, just like the offense. So it's just one of those things where I am projecting the outcome for that, but I still respect them as the second best team in football. Don't get me wrong. This all spawned from me, somehow saying that the touchdown favorite Packers should win this game. I don't even know how, we got to, this conversation about the Eagles. But my point is, I'm just saying, hey, every team has shown vulnerability. And, I'm willing to give teams grace if they have, like, something backing it up, like talent, quarterback, coaching, any of those things. And I feel the Eagles have it. I feel the Packers have it. I think they're going to win 28-20. You guys just give me your score predictions.
Yeah, I got the Vikings winning like 17-13.
17-13. All right. Dan, what's your score prediction in this Packers game?
I had Vikings winning around like 20-10.
Okay. 20-10. All right. So we've got that out of the way, and the audience knows we don't agree. And we're going to move on to the I think for the sake of this, we have to do Eagles Cowboys now. It is time to talk about this game. And
Danny, you can go.
Yeah, I want to let you guys take the lead on this.
Joe, you always let me go first because you just want to respond. All right, let's get this right. So, for me, how I look at it with the Birds, of course, off the gate, you could bet it now. Probably first play of the game is going to be a run. I guess for me, I just overall want to see like there's drama. This is kind of where it's like this is around the part of the season where I feel like the media always picks up around the Eagles. They always pick up about like, is shit gonna get figured out? Is shit gonna be this and that or whatever? Of course, like statistically proven, the Eagles never lost in Kelly Green. I don't care about any of those like random statistics. I don't think it has anything really to do with this game. I'm expecting the Cowboys defense to want to blitz hard, blitz heavy. They want to make this a statement game. I expect that from them. But I also do see, because one thing I did see that was interesting was that it almost looks like Hurts is hesitant to want to like throw the ball really like downfield like that or put the ball in harm's way because of, I guess you could say that narrative of like, oh, he can't put it in the pocket. Oh, he just throws interceptions. Oh,
he doesn't throw any big window passes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like to kind of get that off his back. What's he going to do? Not want to throw down the field and risk it. He's going to want to throw it to the check downs, throw it to the tight end, throw it to all these things where I wonder if that's a him thing in his mind or whether that's a Kevin Patullo thing telling him, no, we're not going to put our defense in bad situations. We'd rather just run it, keep it safe, playing safe football 24/7. But what's it called? Overall, I see this game really going back and forth. If I'm being straight up honest with you, I think you're going to see a lot of exposures, I would say, from our defense. You can't really do what our defense did 2 weeks in a row, repeat it again in the third week. I know our defense was like fantastic beforehand, but this is now, I'll give it respect, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, not what's it called, Amon-Ra and J-Mo. It's not Christian Watson and who the freak was the other dude? Oh, Romeo Doubs. Like this is a very like, to me it's a different tier of receivers, and I think this is one of those games where just Dak's going to actually trust his guys, throw it up, and it's a Dory Jackson against George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb. I hate that matchup in itself. But I also do think that A.J. Brown and Smitty are going to be a lot more active this game. I see, if I'm going to be straight up honest with you, right, because I need us to lose a weird game and a dumb game. And I can't lie, I think this is going to be a close one. And even though I'm a Birds fan, I got to give it, I'll probably say, 33, 35 Cowboys for this game.
I like that.
Very surprised.
I like that take.
Very surprised you said the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm surprised
And
you
the
took
reason I'm
Dallas.
doing it now is because the Eagles and the Cowboys, we've always it's a very rare situation. Like when we go to the Super Bowl, like that year we went to the Super Bowl, like the Cowboys were in shambles, but they just got Quinnen Williams, they just got Logan Wilson, they got what's it called? Who's the other bull, Joey? You know him?
Mario returns back.
Who is it?
Injury, coming back from
Mario
injury.
Overshown. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Overshown. Like Overshown's back. Like
Javon
a bunch of
Revel
players
played
on the
last week.
defenses come back, and to me, it's like this is not. So they know they're already like deep into the draft. So now this is all this is just statement games. These are all just like we're gonna try this defense at full throttle. What better team to do it against the Super Bowl champions? So it's like, well, for us, it's either gonna be the drama solved this week, or it's just gonna escalate. So.
Correct. I lean to the latter for that. I think this is this to me this is like a trap game for Philly. If has that feel to it, because I feel like the average Philly fan is overlooking Dallas and what they've put on tape defensively. They aren't taking into account just how many defensive starters that are going to be playing for Dallas this week that weren't there. The first 8 weeks of the season. We're talking probably 5 different guys, and that starts with a All-Pro top 3 D tackle in football, Quinnen Williams. He's going to be lining up over your center all day. He went back to his old stance that he used previously. So our defensive line coach was from the Jets, and that when his time period with the Jets was Quinnen Williams' like best pass rush and run stopping ability. So he changed his stance back to his old stance, and as you saw, he had basically a sack and a half. Should have had like 2.5 sacks against the Raiders. So yeah, that's more than he's had all season. So I think the Eagles are going to have their hands full, dealing with Dallas. And Dallas is running like a 5-man front now with 3 D tackles. So I think the running, you're not going to be able to run the balls. My biggest thing, the running game will not be there. The Mario Overshown is like your Jalen Hurts eraser because you can just spy the quarterback with him. You can rush the quarterback with him. You could bring him off the edge. I don't know how many snaps he's going to play. He might be, he played about 30 snaps last week, so I hope that number goes up. But I'm not really looking to rush him, but he is a huge X factor for me in this game. He looked good last week. When we talk about the corners, we have Deron Bland. He's our slot corner, but we have Siobhan Revel was our 3rd-round pick. He was a 1st-round talent at corner. He looked great against the Raiders. He's cutting well. He's not. You can't tell that he tore his ACL from what I could tell. And then Kalen Carson's a year 2 guy. He came back about 2 weeks ago. He's been really good. So basically, the whole defense has been overhauled for the most part. They do run it. It's a Matt Eberflus system, so they don't necessarily blitz the way you kind of would expect Dallas to do previously. They run a zone defense. So I think it's going to come down to, can Jalen Hurts beat Dallas with his arm? And I just don't see that. I don't see that coming down. I don't see that coming to fruition in this game, only because I don't think he's going to have all day to sit in the pocket and throw the ball. Because, like we said, we didn't mention Lane Johnson's not playing. Wow. Your right guard Tyler Steen's not good. Your center has a concussion; he's not going to play. And then your left guard Landon Dickerson's been battling injuries all year. He can't turn. So I think you're going to see a lot of twists and gap exchanges in the middle of the defense with Dallas. I think having the 3 good to great D tackles is going to play. It'd be a huge factor in this game. But to close everything out, I got Dallas winning 40-17.
No, you are such a glazer.
I love the score prediction. I actually agree with both of you guys, and this is not the outcome I expected this morning when I was thinking about this game and how we're all going to talk about it. I can't believe we're all in agreement, but yeah, I do think the Cowboys and just their defense, with the injuries to the Eagles' offensive line, Joey laid it out perfectly. I just don't see like the first time Hurts sees like this version of the Cowboys defense. I don't see him getting them this time around, and I don't see Kevin Patullo creating the game plan that is going to have the answers for these new problems that the Cowboys are going to be posing. So I do think Dak is going to have a good day, even though you might see like Quignon on Pickens and the Eagles double CD, or maybe they believe DeJean is good enough and they can shut down everything and have an extra guy in the box for the run. The Eagles defense is super versatile, but I think either way, Dallas And their offense with Dak at the helm, like he has, almost as many answers as any other quarterback in the league, as in terms of audibles at the line. He's got full control of this offense. I think. I think this might change our perception of both teams greatly after this game concludes. And we know the Eagles are injured. If they weren't, I would feel similarly that the Eagles are walking into a trap. I would be much less confident about it though. But like I said, I don't think they've. I don't know. I think this Cowboys team is really good now, and I think this game is going to show it, and they'll win 26-21. That's my
Dallas is averaging like over 33 points per game. I think they're top 3 in points per game. Closing thoughts on this that I forgot to add in. Dak is 21-2 at home against the NFC East. He hasn't lost a game against the NFC East at home since 2017. And I think that was Thanksgiving against the Commanders. But
I remember that game.
Yeah, I think that was what was that? Kirk Cousins went off that game, I believe. But
Kirk Cousins went off that
Dak
game.
threw an interception.
Don't really remember. That was Dak's second year in the league. Pretty crazy to think how quickly time goes. But what's that?
No, yeah. Keep going.
But yeah, I mean, you talk about. I think I really do believe. I'm not trying to say just because I'm a fan of this team. I think CD and Pickens is the best duo in football. Like who would you rather have? Outside of those two,
I'd rather have Chase and Higgins, but
I can't lie to you, Joey, and I'll bring this up. I find this to be super. So my thing is who is your number one? Are you putting Pickens at your number one? Or are you putting CD at your number one?
I think Pickens is my number one, and CD is a guy that I'm just going to move all across the line. Like he's my motion guy all day. I'm going to just put Pickens on one side of the ball and let him do his thing. Pickens is only 24 too, which is a scary thing to think about. Like he is not even close to his prime.
How many years would you sign him right now if you could to the Cowboys right now? Because this is his contract year.
I'd give him a 5-year deal, but I think regardless, he's going to get franchise tagged if they don't come to a contract agreement. So we're going to get another year of Pickens. But yeah, I mean this is the Dak window is. I think we talk about the Chiefs and where they're at. Dallas isn't that far off from being in the same spot as the Chiefs are. They could go on a similar run, 6-1, close out the year, go into playoffs. That'd be awesome to see. I think they're talented enough to do it, and I think the loss of the teammate that they've had, Marshawn Nealon, I think that kind of brought the team together, and they got them all on the same page. Plus, half a season we're half a season in. I think the defense has settled in. We finally have the right talent on the field. A lot of the guys you saw play Philly week 1, a lot of those guys are healthy and active now. They they were traded away. They're getting cut now. Those guys are gone. We have our real defense now, I think. So, just something to keep in mind for that. Just for the rest of the season outlook for Dallas, I kind of like where they're at. I wish they won some of those one-score games earlier in the year, but here we are. It's just 1 week at a time. I think
you did.
I think it's a playoff week for them now.
You did.
What's that?
You did win some of those one-score games, by the way.
What are you talking about? The Giants?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Panthers game, how they should have won that one, and then things like that.
Yeah.
How they shouldn't have lost the Cardinals, that kind of dumb shit.
I'm just jabbing you. All right. I think that was all of our thoughts, Dan. Unless if you had anything else.
I mean, overall, to me, I think while that has gone on for Dak with the Cowboys defense and everything like that, I also feel like this is going to be the toughest defense that Dak has faced. And while I feel like he's been able to,
I'd put Denver number 1. That was a tough defense. I think
I'm talking about with the way that they've been playing now. Personally, the way they stopped the Packers offense, the way they stopped the Lions offense, the way they stopped.
Really good point.
It's like they've been able to absolutely 180 turn around this entire team. And when we played the Broncos at the time, we didn't have Jalen Phillips, we didn't have Nakobe Dean was still hurt, and
I agree.
What's it called so there was a bunch of things that personally now for me, while I seen Dak dice up a lot of these teams and the Raiders and everything, it's now I want to see what is Dak gonna be in a sense where it's in this like new intensity situation, like to me, because if he does dice it up, then I'm like, okay, now we're talking like for me, like this is like MVP kind of conversation, everything like that, because I don't even
Well,
think I saw him in the listing for when I
let's
saw,
go
I
with team
think it was like, yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what like really like I guess agitated me when I saw that because now if he does have a hard time and he does struggle, then it's like I guess are things exposed in Dallas about like everyone likes everyone always points the figure about it's the coach, it's this, it's that, it's this. It's like, you know, I guess I don't know when Dak's contract is up, but it's like how long I guess do you keep believing in Dak with this team that these prime quarterbacks you could just when you play them in there, they could just make magic happen.
I would never not believe in Dak. I mean, watching him every Sunday, he's my guy. I can't imagine giving up on Dak. It'd be retarded to do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Dak sorry, guy. But Dak
Continue.
Dak was re-signed last year, so Dak was re-signed to a 4-year deal last year. So the Dak window is really, you could say this year, but really it's 26 to 2028. And that's why you saw them trade for Quinton Williams. He was under contract. That's why we got Kenny Clark. He's under contract. So they're building the team for next year in 2027. And I like the idea, but I mean, we got to push our tips and we extended Dak. We got to give Dak the best chance to win. I think we're doing that. I think Jerry Jones has been listening to the fans, and I think you could make that just off the Quinn Williams trade. It's something you would have never done previously. And then they're trying to get better at linebacker, so they grab Logan Wilson. Logan Wilson is not like an elite guy, but he's a smart football player. He's going to be where he needs to be. Kenneth Murray.
Yeah.
Kenneth Murray is everything you want from a physical standpoint, but nothing about him mentally makes sense. He's never in the right position. He's always getting diced up in the middle of the field, never in the right dropbacks for a zone defense where just off what we saw Logan Wilson do in a limited sample size yesterday or last week, it was perfect. So I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm not going to Dak's not never been the issue. And I think his stats will show that he's 160 yards away from breaking the Cowboys all-time passing yards record. He's going to get that this week. So he's going to hold all the Cowboys quarterback records in Dallas when it's all said and done.
All right. So that was Eagles Cowboys. Going to be an awesome game. I certainly can't wait to watch. It's sort of my favorite game to watch every season that isn't a Giants game because there's always a loser. And never have I said that in front of both an Eagles and a Cowboys fan with such malice. But here we are. So moving on to the next game. We have Steelers at Bears. This is going to be an awesome game. This is such an interesting NFL game. This is like peak NFL matchup when like you just have two teams that are kind of a mixed bag sometimes, but in different ways. In this one, Vegas decided to give the Bears the benefit of the doubt with a 3-point favorite and a 44.5-point over/under. Like I said, it's an interesting game, but honestly, I do feel the Steelers are going to win this one. I mean, when I just kind of look at what the Bears have done so far, they've definitely been a team that has improved. I feel like as the season's gone on, it was pretty clear early on that Ben Johnson's coaching was going to take a little bit more time to stick. But it appears, at least with Caleb Williams, that has, sort of taken some form in his sack avoidance and his ability to extend the play. Thing is, that's not really something that Ben Johnson focuses on, but it just seems like Caleb's getting more capable in doing that. And if he can do that whenever Ben Johnson's play doesn't work, that would be great. But to me, the big thing in this one is I think about who the Bears are and what they've been this season. And I don't feel like they have really a big win on the year. In fact, their biggest win might be that Cowboys win from early on in the season. And like we said, that was a bad Cowboys team. And when I look at what the Steelers have done, I feel like the Colts, that win, that really means something because that means coming into a game like this where I say, well, we got a quarterback who's got some questions. They might be in different spots in their career, but bottom line is they can play really well but have some turnover-worthy plays. And then they like to run the ball. And I just feel like the Colts defense is better than the Bears defense, and the Colts offense is obviously a much better machine than this Bears offense is at this point. And I feel like if the Steelers are able to bottle that up and pull off the win, force some turnover worthy plays out of Daniel Jones, I feel like it should be something that kind of brings some reality to this Bears 7-3 record, where I feel like it's not really filled with many wins on even teams that are the Steelers caliber. So I'm taking the Steelers to win 24-20 as an upset in this one, and that's going to be the under, which is going to play into the idea that they're going to stop Caleb Williams somehow in a crucial spot. So I think Dan had the strongest reaction when I started speaking. I started running and blabbering my mouth about this game. So I have to know what was on your mind, Dan. What was on your mind?
We'll get to me, right? Scotty, do you know who leads, like, the top 4 leading, secondary? Like, I guess as in, like, secondary players in the NFL are right now? Who's, like, the top 4?
Top 4, like, corners?
Like, no, just top 4 overall secondary in the league. Top 4,
like secondary units?
Bears.
Yeah, the secondary players.
You asking me to rank the secondary?
No. I'm asking, do you know who are the top 4 secondary players in the NFL right now that lead in interceptions?
Bears.
Interceptions?
Bears have forced
3 of them were on the Bears.
Yes.
Well,
and the thing is Rodgers is shook. I don't expect Trubisky to come up here and just.
It's going to be Mason Rudolph. Well, it looks like we lost Danny.
Looks like we lost Danny. For the time being, Joey, why don't you pick up where he left off and tell me what was on your mind when I picked the Steelers to upset the Bears?
Yeah, I don't agree, only because we know Aaron Rodgers is compromised with the wrist injury. I know we're going to get Perk Rodgers playing. I love Perk Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers in general as a player, but I can't say that he's the same guy that we've seen previously. But for the Bears, I think the Bears, for them, they've just, they would lose games. They would lose these one-score games that they've been winning. They've come back and they've overall just been handling business this year in a way that they couldn't do previously. Their defense has been one of the best, turnover units in football. I think I agree with your score prediction, Scott, but I got the Bears winning 24-20.
Okay. Dan, Joe just explained how he agrees that he doesn't think the Steelers are going to win. But he seems to think it'll be close.
Well, I say that the thing with Caleb Williams is that he always looks like he's scared. And the Steelers can bring pressure, yes, 100%. I just don't think that the Steelers can produce against this Bears defense. And I think they're going to get stuck, and I think that the Bears defense are going to put the Bears offense in positions to score. So I would say that this game is probably going to go 27-24 Bears.
Okay.
To add to that, though, the Bears are going to be down, I think, 3 starting linebackers this week. Worth noting.
All right. So my response to you guys is, I know it's kind of far off, but historically Rodgers has owned the Bears, and Perk Rodgers has been an even bigger nightmare for them. So I just want to point that little fun fact out. But I want to come back to this Bears schedule idea. Because I can forgive.
I don't care about the strength of schedule, Scott.
We're talking about this year. This is what happens. We're talking about how they have all these interceptions. Well, let's figure out how they got to where they are right now with how we perceive them. I can forgive the 52-21 week 1 loss, but you have a nice turnaround win against the Cowboys. Those are probably the 2 hardest games they have played this entire season. Who have they had since then? They beat the Raiders by 1 point. They beat the Commanders by 1 point in a very fluky game. Jane Daniels fumbled, and they beat the Saints by 12 points. Okay, like I respect it enough. And then you lose to the Ravens when they don't have Lamar 30-16. Okay, so that was kind of the end of like their 3-game win streak where it was close games, but it was looking like they were improving every week, and then they fell flat. So what have they done right after that? Well, they beat Joe Flacco's Bengals in that 47-42 game. That looked really good. It is the Bengals defense. They showed
Best
up
game of
though.
the year.
They won the game. They won the game with their offense like they should have. And then they versed the Giants and they almost lose that game. And then they verse the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy, and we're wondering why do they lead the NFL in all these interceptions. I would say it probably has something to do with that. J.J. McCarthy, Jackson Dart, and then to Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco. Who did the Ravens have in here? Was it Tyler Huntley? Yeah, Tyler Huntley. He didn't throw an interception, though. Spencer Rattler, Jaden Daniels, okay. But then Geno Smith, Dak Prescott had a bad game against that Bears team, and then obviously they didn't do too well against that Lions team. But I'm just not sold. I feel like the Steelers have played a lot more competitive games this year, and just trust them to win this game. I'm not saying I don't see the Bears having a chance. Like I think it'll be really close, but just kind of trust the Steelers in this spot. But I think it's a good spot to move on. I think that's a fair game to disagree on. I think I know you guys aren't confident, but I think it could go either way.
I think it's funny how me and Danny are on the same page so often.
Yeah, it is funny like that, but I'm unmoved. Anyway, we got Jaguars and Cardinals. I do not care. I will stand by what I believe, and that's what this is all about. I mean, there's probably someone out there who agrees with all three of us. So, this is going to be an interesting game. It's Jaguars at Cardinals. Jags Cardinals, and I believe this spread is from a day ago. But I don't know if my eyes deceive me, but it has the Cardinals favored in this one with a 47.5 point over under. I'm really not sure where that's coming from. I mean, if the Jags are who some people say they are, they should dominate in this game with the run game that they have, and the defense. They got good pieces, and I understand what the Cardinals have done recently. But just this Cardinals defense against Liam Cohen and this offense, like I feel like it should operate well, and Trevor Lawrence needs to have a really good day, in order for the Jaguars as a whole to kind of really get into some rhythm this year, because it just seems like they don't have any. We'll see if Jonathan Gannon has anything in store for Trevor Lawrence to maybe confuse him, but I just don't think it'll be enough. I think the Jags are going to win 28-20. Dre, what's up?
I think part of that, predictions like for the books is like, as we know, Travis Hunter's out for the year. Brian Thomas with analysis out, so they're going to be down their top 2 receivers again. And then the Cardinals. Like the success we saw the Jags have last week was on running the ball. The Cardinals have a much better run defense than who the Jags played last week. So I could see, in theory, the Cardinals winning this game, only because Jacoby Brissett has kind of been on fire since he's taken over as a starter. And then Michael Wilson has been elevated into the number 1 role. Great. Like they have more competent receivers than the Jags do, I would say, outside of Jacoby Myers, obviously. But, I don't know what the situation is with Tootin this week, but I think it's going to be like a 27-23 Cardinals win this week. I'm going to predict the Jags to get upset. I just trust Jacoby Brissett kind of in this situation, just as a veteran, and then what he's put on tape this year, the 47 completions he's had last week. I mean, why not?
I don't hate.
He's doing it.
I do not hate that take, Dan. What do you think about this one?
I mean, after Jacoby Brissett, didn't he break the records for the amount of completions?
Yeah.
Yes.
For a quarterback and everything, and he still took the L. So I guess for me, it's one of those things where this dude needs to have a statement game. This dude needs to kind of ball out. And I think they're going to, really expose the Jags. And I'm saying I see it being like a pretty significant win. And I'm looking at 24-14 Cardinals.
The Jags offense gets shut down. I could see it. Like it's like when I opened it up with if some who some people say the Jaguars are. I'm not one of those people. Like I see what the Jaguars have, and I kind of like where they're going, but I just don't really feel like it's all there as a whole, and so that's why I see the take that you guys are giving out as fair, because I see the potential for them to lose this game and collapse. But I think I don't know. I think they're going to be able to get right against this Cardinals team.
To add to that, Scott, I like where the Jags are. I like where they're going. They have a talented defense. I just think, this is a bad matchup for what they currently have, and what the Cardinals are good at.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough matchup to judge.
I will say too, going forward with the Jags, if these dudes still consistently put Travis Hunter on the defensive side of the ball, you might as well say that third overall pick was like for freaking waste, because you're gonna have this dude for like a solid 5 years before he's like jacked up. Like
he's out for the year, Danny.
No, I know he's not for the year. I'm saying for the future. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about for the future. I'm saying because how he's before that he got
seeing that one game.
What was that?
After seeing that one dominant offensive game, I think you got to keep him at receiver and just let him develop there.
Yeah.
Personally, that's why, because I remember he said before that he doesn't want to play for a team that's not going to let him play both ways. But it's like you clearly just saw you tried it your rookie year coming into the league, and you're done for the rest of the year now, and you guys were on a roll, and you were probably like, what was it, that London game they were playing? He was like the reason why they were like going down the field and being the star player that he was. So it's like,
do the Browns own their first round pick this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
Be a nice selection, potentially.
Speaking of the Browns, they're our next matchup in this week's slate of games, and they're taking on the Raiders. Potential game of the year alert on this one. The Raiders are 3-point favorites, and there is a 36.5 point over under in this one. And man,
there's no way you just called this the game of the year.
It's going to be maybe the ugliest game many of us have ever seen. The Broncos and Raiders gave us that privilege just a few Thursday nights ago. And now the Raiders might continue to deliver on that by versing this absolutely ferocious and terrifying Browns defense. And with the way the Raiders' offensive line has been playing, like I don't even know what you would put the like yardage total for the Raiders' offense at for this game. I mean, I actually think they could finish with like maybe less than 200 yards of offense, and this game could be over before you know it, because it's the same thing with the Browns. It's like Gabriel questionable, and then Shador, like what are we going to be?
Shador will be starting.
Shador's starting. That's right. Shador's starting, and just the way he looked last week, he looked terrible. Maybe it was just getting thrown out there, but I don't know. It seems like just the whole relationship he has with that organization.
No. I'm not gonna let that. We cannot just sit there and say, "Oh, he just got thrown out there." I feel like as a professional, and this is what agitates me, because everybody's just like, "Oh, well, I feel like Stefanski doesn't prepare him." Like,
yeah, I don't feel that way personally. I'm saying some people will say that, but I don't feel that way personally. But I'm just
I don't feel that way personally.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like genuinely, like as a pro, you get the playbook. You should be able to invest your time in knowing what you need to do. I understand the mental reps, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But also like developing that chemistry, especially with like the people that you play with or whatever the case is. But it's like if he has the respect and he is seen as like the skill set that he has, those ones like Jerry Jeudy, Tillman, all those guys that he plays with, Higgins, everybody would also have reps with him, whether it's outside practice, during practice, before practice, whatever the case is. It's like you should prepare for the team that Shador says he wants to lead. Now you get out there against the Ravens, and people are just like, "Oh, he just got thrown out there. He wasn't prepared." But all of a sudden, if he would have won that game, if he would have led down the field, started scoring, doing all that stuff, slap watch, you know what I'm saying, Jerry? You know what I'm saying, Jerry? You know what I'm saying? He would have done all that extra ish. Everybody would be like, "Oh my God, the Browns were dumb." They would have just started glazing it. And now we're about to go to the Raiders and have everybody be like, "Oh my God, he's here. He beat the Raiders." No.
It's not gonna impress me. Really, anything successful he does this game, and I feel the same way. Like I said, I don't really care that you got thrown out to play in an NFL game. Like I don't, And it's come to the point with Shador where, I made a little video about him in the offseason. I was, trying my best to be sympathetic towards him. It's just all gone after the way he's kind of managed and handled this year from a PR standpoint. Like, how do you have any faith in a guy who's just, seems to be kind of childish with his reactions to all these things? I get he's in, like, Cleveland, and it seems like they're screwing him over, but I agree with you, Dan. It's just not really acceptable, and that's why I think my initial instinct was the Browns should win, but I actually think they're probably going to lose. Like, there's just, like, their offense against the Raiders' defense might actually be worse than the Raiders' offense versus the Browns' defense. That's what it really comes down to. And I thought about this one real hard, and so this is what I came up with. The Browns are 0-5 in away games against the spread. And when they're home, they're 4-0 against the spread. So I thought, well, if it was going to be one of those Browns masterclass defensive performances, it wouldn't be in Vegas. So I'm going to take the Raiders to win this one 13-10. That's my take. Joey, who do you think is going to win?
I think this game kind of has some interesting drama to it because, leading up to the draft, Tom Brady's the part owner of the Raiders. A lot of people have made the connection of Shador to the Raiders and didn't make that happen. So to think his first starts coming against them is pretty cool to think about, just from a storyline aspect. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I totally agree with you guys on the backup quarterback thing. Obviously, your backup's not going to get reps. I mean, that's never been questioned before up until last week.
Jackson Dart didn't need him.
Yeah, but to add to that, it's like I'll just give you my score prediction. I got the Raiders winning 28-0 off 4 pick sixes. Their offense is not going to do anything. They're going to get 4 pick sixes.
That would be the worst first start, I think, of any quarterback in NFL history. Like the other team scored 0 points on offense and you lost by 28. That is crazy. All right. So it's pretty clear how we feel about this game. Nobody in the tri-state area has faith in Shador. All right, so that's okay. All right.
Okay, and my score prediction is supposed to be 16-13, Scott.
16-13. Yeah, so very, very close to what I have. That's going to be the over.
We all got the Raiders.
Oh, excuse me. That's not the over.
I'm expecting that he's going to be able to get the storyline of like, oh, he squeezed it out and yada, 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 and all that ish in between. So
you thinking the Browns will win or the Raiders will win?
I think the Browns are good. I think the Browns are just going to overbear them on defense and put them in perfect position just to get field goals, not score touchdowns.
I don't know.
But
I'm kind of Team Joey. I feel like a Raiders defensive touchdown could be imminent.
With Max Crosby, shoot, bro, he needs something.
Or it could be like 9-6, where like teams don't score touchdowns at all.
Yo, that is
just
like to be an
interception. Now, we go 3 and out, we kick a field goal. Yay, offense! Like we're doing our job. Like it could be like that too. So, yeah, I think
this game should be Sunday Night Football.
This game should belong in a museum after. Just because I just know it's just going to be, like, really crazy about it. And I honestly actually can't wait to watch this game because it could be, like, just ugly, but it could be, like, really good defense, too, at least from the Browns. Like, just seeing them just stop the Raiders from doing anything in the trenches could be, like, are they going to have 0 negative rushing yards this whole game, the Raiders? Are they going to get sacked 10 times and have negative rushing yards?
Bro, you're about to make me sit Genty for fantasy.
Are we about to witness the worst offensive performance in any game in NFL history? It really might be like this one, maybe, at least since like the 1920s or something like that. But that's enough on this game. Let's talk about one that's slightly more interesting, but actually kind of the same, and that's Falcons at Saints. Saints are 1.5-point favorites. Penix out for the year. Cousins, he's looking awful, and he's going to be stepping into the situation. And I feel the Saints have actually gotten better, so I kind of actually get the Saints being favored by 1.5. It's going to also likely be a hideous game, but I think the Saints get their 3rd win on the season, and they shuck it up in the best possible way, 20-17. Dan, who do you think is going to win this one?
For me, I think Kirk O'Chain's really just – I feel like once he gets his mojo, He just knows what he has to do. I'm sorry for those who have Kyle Pitts in their fantasy leagues, because he's going to be absolutely not used at all probably for the remainder of the year, because for some reason Kirk Cousins just cannot throw to Kyle Pitts and does not care to throw to Kyle Pitts at all. It's either Drake London, Mooney, or Bijan for the rest of the year, guys. But besides that, I just feel like once Kirk gets his like mojo, especially get a team like the Saints, like this is a perfect team to be able to like pick that kind of momentum up. And I feel like if that's what happens, I'm sorry to say for Penix, but he's probably gonna be gone from the Falcons, because while they thought they could have invested in him and that he could have been something, I'm kind of putting Penix and JJ McCarthy in that same tier, which is kind of funny because they played each other in the freaking Natty. But of just like, yo, you had your chance. We have everything around you, and you just can't get it done, champ. Like, next. And Kirk Cousins, I think, is going to be that bridge for building that next franchise guy for the Falcons coming up, whether it's going to be drafted next year or he's going to be traded for something.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, this is going to be one of those games where I'm going 16-10 Falcons.
16-10 Falcons. Joey.
Yep.
Do you agree with that?
I definitely trust Big Kirko. I think, sitting is a good for him. He was rushed into the game last week, but once he gets back to playing and gets into like a flow, he was never given a chance to get into like a flow with the Falcons, like on a healthy standpoint. He's not as old as Rodgers. Like I don't think he's completely washed. So I think this is going to be a great time for him to reestablish his value, and I'm taking the Falcons to win 28-20.
I don't know. Maybe we see that second year off the Achilles look a little better, kind of like Rodgers, but at the same time, huh?
He's not as old as Rodgers, though, too.
Well, I don't think he's as athletic either, so I just think his shelf life is shorter. But my main sort of, thing on Kirk is when it comes to him, like, man, I lost my train of thought. I'm not gonna lie, but talking about Kirk Cousins, like, I don't know. This is what it was. He does not strike me as someone who like goes into the week like, oh, I'm the backup. Like no, I think like he is going into every week, especially with like the way Penix looked at certain points this season. I think he was like say the Panthers lost what was that, week 2, 30-0. Penix was terrible. I think he probably was like, I'm gonna have a good opportunity to start pretty soon if he keeps playing like this. I ought to be ready. So I feel like what we're seeing from Kirk is like what we should expect. So I mean, it's kind of just how I feel, but I don't think it's like the line's 1.5 for a reason, but I guess we're just disagreeing more so about Cousins, and that's leading to our take on the game, as I'm the only one taking the Saints, right? You both taking the Falcons? All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I just got a good idea. All right. Moving on to the next one, and we got Buccaneers at Rams. This would have been an amazing game if the Buccaneers were fully healthy. It still could be, but the Bucs offense is just not going to be as well equipped to attack this second-ranked Rams defense as they would have been if they had Evans and Bucky, who they say, at least with Bucky, he's going to be back every week, and then he never is. So I just assume he's like essentially out for the season.
Well, they said he's dealing with mental issues.
Oh, did they say that actually? I did not know that. Yeah.
I saw a report was about how he's been trying to like get back into it, but they're seeing that he's really off with like certain things, so they don't want to like rush him back into a game where either he thinks he's gonna get hurt again, they think he's not right, whatever the case is. So
you're saying it's not mental health, it's like he mentally doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, like he's like mentally doubting himself in the game right now.
I thought it was like a Calvin Ridley sort of thing.
They said they're targeting next week for him to play.
Yeah, they said they're targeting this week, last week.
Yes, I don't know but then again, you got people like Rondé Barber saying that it's like worse than that we know, and that he probably will not return.
I'm sure that's the case. Honestly, if I was a betting man, if I was a gambling man, that's what I would say. So,
you're gonna cut him in fantasy right now.
What?
Should I cut him in fantasy right now?
The, I mean, in redraft, like, no, like, probably not. You just hold on to him, but like, if you really need to get into the playoffs, maybe think about it. But anyway, about the game, I think ultimately the Bucs would have had a good chance with Bucky in there, but I don't know. I feel like the Bucs have been running cold, and honestly, I feel like it's kind of optimistic to think that they would cover a 6.5 point spread in this one. I feel like the Rams are kind of a whole tier above them and just a better version of what we see the Bucs as. And honestly, on the defensive side too, the Bucs, they've shown some warts, and I think it has the potential to get ugly. But I think the Bucs will still give up a good fight, and the Rams will win by at least a touchdown, 27-20. Joey, what is your take on the Rams-Bucs game? Do you think we're going to see any surprises from this Buccaneers team?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a fired up Baker Mayfield. He credited being that time with the Rams as like a turning point in his career. He's been really bad for the last month, so I think the Titans have to be turning soon. Chris Godwin's going to be back this week. Kind of don't know what to expect from Chris Godwin. I feel like he could either really go off or he's a complete dud. So I don't know. Not much to take away from there, but I think the Bucs win this game, and I'm going to give them 31-27.
Okay, very projecting a bounce back, projecting a turning point in the season for the Buccaneers. Is what that would be.
Yes.
Dan, do you see like an upset here for this Bucs team? Do you see that as possible?
Honestly,
you both are lower on the Rams than I am, so I'm very curious.
No, honestly, to me, I see this as like a Devontae Adams like 2 touchdown kind of game. I see this being a very like big shootout. I think this is gonna be another one of those things where I agree with Joey in the sense of I think Baker in situations like this where he plays a team that he knows is one of those playoff contention teams that he may see in the big moments. Like it's just a different level for him. But again, I feel it's going to be a shame because you're going to see the Bucs defense kind of get exposed here, and Matthew Stafford probably dice them up. So I'm expecting the Rams, similar to that Bills game, to be able to come out, and it's going to be 30-24. That was a good one.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
That was like
excuse yourself.
Excuse me. At least I don't say crazy words on the podcast.
I mean, Scott started the trend. That's all I got to say.
That's there's no record of that. There's actually no record of that. So
I have record. I have it on my phone.
No, I removed it.
I will leak it. I will create a YouTube account. I'll tag the pocket. I'll tag that one dude, and I'll make it a YouTube short.
I'll drag you down with me. You should try, man. Just try. I'll bring us all down.
Bro creates a channel just to post that one clip.
I'm gonna make a Joey hater burner account. I'm gonna comment on every video saying you have the worst takes. All right, score predictions. You guys said what? Can you remind me what you said? Jog my memory.
31-27 Bucs.
30-24 Rams.
30-24 Rams.
Sean Tucker, 2-touchdown game, 120-yard game on the ground.
Do you think Baker Mayfield's going to throw 4 interceptions?
No.
No? Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't see it. But actually, I think one's in store, but I think he gets right in the second half. I think one Baker interception.
You know who the best quarterback is against the Blitz this year?
Against what?
Against the Blitz?
Probably Sam Darnold.
No, it's Matt Stafford.
That's surprising.
You're a Stafford disciple, and you don't know that he has like 23 touchdowns, no turnovers against the Blitz this year.
I said he's got over the past 7 games, he's got 0 interceptions. So all of his touchdowns.
Yeah, he's been the most efficient quarterback in the league this year. He's reminding me of Dak Prescott his last 2 months.
This is just not in my head right now because I was already thinking about this when I put the Rams at number 1 last week. It's my response, but I think I like your guys'
He's looking a
takes.
lot the last 2 weeks.
Huh?
He's been playing a lot like Dak for the last month.
I think Dak plays a lot like Matthew Stafford, but it's one. It's not
I think it's on the way around.
Stafford's older, but anyway, this is off topic. Let's move on to the last and final game, the Monday night game. Panthers at 49ers. What's that?
I said this game, bro, on Monday.
Oh, yeah. I know. I cannot wait to watch this game. First of all, we have CMC. Okay, I said Panthers 49ers. 49ers 7-point favorites and a 48.5 point over under. CMC revenge game. How do you trade this guy away? I remember the second that they did this, I was like, oh, the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. That'll happen. Look at us now. The 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl. And the Panthers, they are trying to rebuild, and it's actually kind of sort of working, maybe. At least the Dave Canales and Bryce Young part is. But nonetheless, Vegas doesn't care. Like I said, touchdown favorites are the Niners. And honestly, this one's going to be pretty crazy. Purdy's back. He was back last week. He looked good. And I don't know. I just feel like both these teams are kind of wild cards. And I think the Panthers are going to be more desperate. And because the 49ers are in the wild card race right now, which the Panthers need. So they really need to win this game. They know how important it is. And the 49ers know how important it is to keep this Panthers team down. So both of them will be trying very hard, but the Panthers are going to be more desperate. And that's why I'm a little confused about the spread, because I understand the 49ers record, but they played a much softer schedule than the Panthers. Outside of the Panthers playing the NFC South, being in that division. It's just, I don't know. I don't think the spread should be 7 points. But either way, I think it will be a very, very close game. I went back and forth on this one so many times until I decided it didn't matter what I thought was going to happen. And this was just going to play itself out through the gods. So I just essentially thought, okay, I got to go with the desperation theory and pick the Panthers. So that's what I did. I have them winning this game, decently high scoring, 30-27. Dan, what do you think is going to happen in this Monday night game that you were thinking about so much?
I think, to me, these are one of those games where like Purdy really needs to like kind of shut the door on the concept of how like Mac Jones basically came in, took this team in, and everybody's like, why the hell are we still with this guy? Like, and yeah, so I feel like, to me, this is one of those games where it's like he needs to prove that point. He needs to show why he's the guy. Mr. Irrelevant is actually relevant. And I see the Niners. The only thing that gets me about the Niners is that the people that actually are physical and like hit hard and establish the dominance on defense are all hurt.
Yeah.
So it's like people like Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard, like McMillan, all these like big body guys who like to get physical are gonna be able to like have their way. And if you could tell they allow themselves to just completely dominate them, yeah, the Panthers are gonna come through. But I think that someone's gonna step up and Purdy's gonna be able to show up. And I'm gonna go with the Niners, 17-14.
17-14. So lower scoring. Chewing clock.
Yep.
Joey, what is your prediction for the Panthers 49ers?
Panthers 25, Niners 23. I like Bryce Young. I like what he's doing this year. I think the Niners, we don't even acknowledge the Niners really this year in any of our top 10 lists. We don't really, we know what the record is, but none of us seem to like care, Mm-hmm. I kind of like the Panthers have a tough defense, and that's kind of why I'm leaning towards them winning this game. Plus, their ground and pound game, they have a dominant O-line. Really, they just dominate the trenches is what it comes down to. So, give me the Panthers.
Yeah, I think it's I think it'll be close, and I think the 49ers and what they've been able to do with CMC. I mean, he's still been unbelievable this year, and that's honestly what seems to be like the heart of that offense, and so that's still there too. And I think the running backs are going to see a lot of usage, and it could be lower scoring because of chewing clock. So, like I said, with this one I do go back and forth, but yeah, I ended up going with the Panthers. Joe, you said Panthers, and Dan, you said 49ers, correct? 17-14. Okay. All right. I don't see much else in terms of that game, and that was the last one of this week. So for the Illegal Formation Podcast, episode 19, which is really the first episode of the Illegal Formation, but the 19th of our formation. So I decided to keep it at least for that time being. Stay tuned for the branding changes, guys, and like and subscribe so that you guys can see those changes once they occur, and you can get those notifications of when the videos are published and when we are live and all that good stuff. And I'm very excited for this week, week 12. It should be a good one. Last week is going to be hard to top, but I think we all agree that there are some pretty major games going on this week. So I hope you guys all enjoy your weekends. And Dan and Joey, I hope you guys enjoy your weekends too. You got anything for the audience, Dan?
Guys, appreciate you guys for showing up. Appreciate you guys for showing up, man. Listen, guys, this shit's fun as hell. And guys, it's rivalry this week. So get lit, get to it, and we're gonna see you on Sunday.
Joey?
How about them Cowboys?
This is how about them
Cowboys, baby!
Cowboys.
I will catch you on the next one.
Peace.